think it's important. I just wanted to say that to investigate is defined as making a careful study of a subject in order to discover the facts about it. This investigation was supported to clear the record of any wrongdoing. It was based on serious and not trifling allegations about the conduct of our elected official, Jim Hill. Allegations were sustained, meaning they were confirmed and their validity upheld. In fact, there is certainly some there. My experience in criminal court reminds me of a strategy commonly used when one has no defense. Attorneys redirect the attention to the accuser, victim, etc., and disparage their qualifications, motives, experience, and anything else that will shift the focus away from their client and the allegations against them. Even so, that strategy fails to diminish that allegations were found true and that one must be held responsible for their conduct. Weighing everything I've heard this evening and reviewed, it's disturbing that the investigation has been described as flawed and its findings false. Just because one disagrees with the findings, that does not make the findings false or without merit. To diminish the investigation results and state that our elected official, the mayor, bears no responsibility is ludicrous, in my opinion. I already mentioned the cost of the investigation that was increased because of the public records request, and I would much rather have spent that money on something that was beneficial to our hardworking taxpayers. However, when there are allegations of Brown Act violations, breach of confidentiality, folks not authorized to have access to the contents of privileged city emails and sharing them, there is no option but to move forward to investigate, find the truth, and if unfounded, exonerate the accused. Since the mayor did not participate in the investigation and through his attorney's statement accepts no responsibility of the sustained allegations, I direct these questions to him. What will you do to change your conduct regarding the sustained allegations? How will you restore confidence that things will be different?
Going on to the report, I'm disappointed that out of the 8 allegations, 4 of them were sustained. In my humble opinion, 4 is too many. Allegation number 7, which is on page 31 of the investigative report. The question is asked, as a board member for the district, has Jim Hill individually and outside the direction of a majority of the board acted unilaterally and outside his legislative role, including but not limited to becoming involved in and or interfering in personnel matters? And this was sustained. The reason I bring up this allegation specifically, and I'm not going to go into all the other ones that were sustained, is that it cites 8 examples that were given in the report that highlight this. This is alarming due to the fact that it shows a pattern of behavior that is not likely to change. It also makes me wonder how many other times has this happened and it wasn't within the scope of these particular allegations. If it was one instance, I could maybe write it off as a random mistake, but it shows a pattern.
Good governance is following policy and following protocol. And when directives are going out to individual staff members or to individual, well, I'll just go with staff members, to individuals or the attorneys or whatever, saying, not asking the question as it was characterized in the defense, but literally directing, stop this, don't do that, and it's happening in email, that's not transparency, because the public doesn't see that. That argument has to happen in open session. That argument has to happen in front of the public so that the public can come to the dais and has an opportunity to participate in that. And when it happens in an email outside of the direction of the public, of the board, then that's the opposite of transparency, and that's what this is all about here. It's not about whether what Mr. Hill is arguing for has merit. It very well may be, but the process is you bring that forward in open session, and the board members either agree or they don't agree, and you either have an uphill climb to make your case or you don't. And I've been on both sides of that. I know what it's like to be on, I don't want to say the losing side, but on the without the majority in the time that I felt strongly about something that I wanted to do. And you suck that up and you go forward, and if people get upset or people get involved like they did last time in terms of when the Knudsen report came out and with the exposure of the issues with the Wallace Group over the Sand District, and the public heard those arguments and made a change. They made significant changes on that board. That's how the process works. You can't shortcut it by sending emails in the dark just because you feel you're right.
I'm not for censure. I'm not really for any sort of punishment. I do believe, I wonder if biometrics for our computer pass would work. I'm curious about biometrics. I do not believe that Mr. Hill or any of us should be sharing information of any kind off our personal computer with our spouses or our significant others. I don't think we should. And if he did that, that's wrong. Do I think he should have gotten involved the way that he did with personnel issues? No. Do I understand his frustration based on the actions of the last administrator? Absolutely. The last administrator was in over his head. He was way over his head. I sat in those meetings. He was not prepared. He was not knowledgeable. He oversold himself as to his qualifications. God forbid, do we know any other place that's happened? So.
Took me a second to figure out what
I know, I'm trying to be subtle, ha ha ha. The last thing is, I think maybe we should talk to Equifax and they can give us some ideas on security for our information. Maybe they can help us. But anyway, so I'll leave it at that. I do get fired up because I'm passionate about it. Everybody's paying attention to City Council. Nobody pays attention to Sand District. And quite honestly, the damage that has been done at the Sand District is going to cause more harm than anything you'll ever see up here on the dais. Plain and simple. Not a question. So people need to be aware, and including this council, of what goes on there, because it's absolutely dysfunctional. Absolutely dysfunctional. I'm surprised it can even clean poop, quite honestly. So that being said, I hope we learn from this. I think Jim's motives were true. I don't think there was any, underhandedness. Do I wish he'd handled it differently? Sure. I wish I'd handled a lot of things differently, but as I end up with getting older, I want to look at my life in totality and think, well, hopefully there was more good than bad. So when you look at Jim Hill, I hope you do the same thing, that you look at his work in totality. Thank you.